Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is KidLee, and we're going to take a look at Heroes of Might and Magic 6, The Shades of Darkness. This is the latest expansion for the game that came out earlier this year. I've been waiting for the devs to fix a few bugs in order for me to finally play this. So, for those who don't know, the Heroes of Might and Magic series is known as a turn-based strategy. And the first game was Heroes of Might and Magic, a strategic quest that came out in 1995 for the good old MS-DOS. This is another one of the series that I've always been a huge fan of. I never played the first Heroes of Might and Magic, but I've played all of them since, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5, in my opinion, was not the greatest game in the world. I think I literally played it one match, and I'm like, this game is just no good. So they finally handed this franchise over to a new studio, and Heroes of Might and Magic 6 is pretty good from what I've seen so far. Now you might notice that there's no music playing in the background with the crazy copyright issues that are going on with YouTube right now. I did not want to risk it for this particular game. So we're going to have to just live with no music at the moment. So what have they changed in this game compared to the previous ones? I'll say that I think that the straight up gameplay on this is very similar to Heroes 3 and maybe even Heroes 2. So let's take a look at what we have for options here. If we go into just the straight up options, you can take a look at the video, audio, gameplay, and hotkeys. So we have a pretty good list here. So one of the new items they've added for this one is they've added a My Dynasty and an Altar of Wishes. If we go into the My Dynasty, you're able to set your own name and your own avatar picture and do all sorts of things like that. But if we click on this option here, you actually have the ability to come in here and create your own custom heroes. You can actually name your hero, you can pick the faction, you can pick sort of the avatar, you can click the specialization, male, female, affinity, and blood versus tears, which I'll explain that a little bit later on. But that's a pretty cool system that they added that. And you're able to unlock, yes, or no, I don't want to save that. Let me try that again, there we go. You're able to actually go in, and as you play the game, you unlock these Dynasty seals. And you can see that I currently have 5,165. And then also as you play, you level up, and you start out at Iron rank, and then eventually you can be Bronze, Silver, Gold, and Platinum. And as you reach the different ranks, you're able to then spend your seals on different heroes, whether they're actual heroes or portraits, or there's actually weapons. If we switch over to, let's say, Silver here, again, more heroes. And here's some of the Dynasty traits, like this one, an Admiral, the cost of buying boats. At shipyards is reduced by 50%. But there's just a bunch of different traits you can get, and there should be some weapons in here somewhere. Let me try gold. Where are the weapons? Ah, here we go. Here's an assassin's blade. So you're able to actually get these customized weapons. So now if we go back into the hero creator, if we go to good old Lord Sandro here, and we go to Dynasty weapons, you see that I have some already selected. And these weapons, like I have this particular staff selected and it's assigned to Sandro, as you use it, you actually have to level up that staff. And as you level it up, you actually are sort of buffing the staff, giving the staff more abilities. So you can see by default here, the staff has +3 to magic power. And once I get it leveled up, then it'll get 30 to max mana, then magic defense, and so on and so forth. So again, just another sort of form of customization that they've added to this. So it's kind of a cool deal. So we'll go ahead and we'll jump out of that. And as you can probably imagine, it's got a full campaign. It's got full multiplayer maps, full custom game mode. You can come in here and select your map and, do all kinds of settings. If you don't want to play a game with those Dynasty bonuses that we were just looking at, you can actually select those on or off. So that is a good deal as well, depending on how hard or easy or how, much customization you want to put into, that particular game. The game does feature a hot seat, and there is a map builder / editor for the game. One feature that they did leave out is just a straight up random map feature. I believe, I'm trying to remember if Heroes 4 had that or if it was Heroes 3, but again, that was a really cool feature that some of the older games had that a lot of people are wishing that they would have put into this one. So, enough talk. Let's get a game going here so we can get into the nitty-gritty of the details. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll hit custom game here, and I'm just going to pick a little map. We'll do, this is a good map here. Also, we'll do a skirmish mode, and all these settings look fine. Actually, let's click on the Dynasty bonuses so I can show you that. So we'll start the game, and you can come up here and you can actually select your hero. So I've actually got a couple of custom heroes here, and I'll go ahead and we'll pick on this one. So I'm going to be Haven. So the different castles in this game are Haven, which is like your knights and your angels and that type of creature. Again, I think that castle's been pretty much in every Heroes game. They've changed the name slightly. You've got your Inferno, which is your devils and imps and that sort of creature. You have your Necro, which is your skeletons and vampires and that sort of thing. And again, I think that's pretty much been in every game. You've got Sanctuary, which this one's a little bit different. This one is a lot of sea or water-based creatures. You've got like shark guards and these frog guys and spring spirits and just very water elemental type creatures. Then you've got the Stronghold, which again, it's very classic. It's the barbarians and roughneck type creatures. And then the new one that was added in the expansion, and I'll kind of bring it up here a little bit if I can find it. Well, actually, one of my custom heroes. Let me go back here. This guy. It's called Dungeon, and it's basically like the Dark Elves, which is what that guy kind of is. So those are the castle types or faction types for this game. So let's go ahead and load in here. Actually, do we want to go against an Inferno? Ah, sure, what the heck. Inferno it is. Alright, I've loaded into the game here, and you can see already that it has a very classic Heroes look. Now, Heroes of Might and Magic 5 had the 3D camera spin. They have removed that, and that is a good thing because it was terrible. But you can zoom in and out. You can actually get in pretty close, and you have a look around and take a look at the adventure map and see here's a guy here. No, actually, it has an artifact here. But we'll go ahead and we'll zoom back out to the so-called normal view. So they have removed some of the resources in this game. As you can tell at the top of the screen, we have got wood, we have ore, and we have the new blood crystal, and then we have money. So there was like 2 different kinds of gems before. There was sulfur, and they basically scrapped all of those and combined them all into the new blood crystal. But other than that, you pretty much have a lot of the standard things that we've seen in all the games. Like here's piles of ore laying around. Here's a fire. You can collect the fire, and it'll give you like wood and money. You have creatures guarding the mines. You have all these buildings you can click on. Now, what they've done as far as the threat system, whenever you right-click on an enemy, it will actually tell you the threat level. Like, this army says it's deadly to me, so if I attack them, I'm probably going to die. So that's sort of the indicator that you have on whether or not you can actually take something or not. So, let's go ahead and we'll just stop here for a second. As I said, at the top of the screen, you have got your resources. Down on the lower right, you have your good old-fashioned turn button, and you've got your spells. Actually, we can go ahead and click in the spell book, which I currently have. Actually, I do have some stuff. I have got a passive static charge and a bless. But by default, I really have nothing. So, and over on the left side, we've got the hero portrait, and we've got us the mini map. So let's go ahead and go into the hero portrait, and I'll show you what they've done in here. So we have got the hero, and we've got all the standard stats that have been in all the other games. You know, stuff like might power, spell power, might and spell defense, mana, might, your leadership, and I believe they've renamed this one. I think it used to be called Morale in the other games, and so now it's called Destiny. So we have all of our nice little slots, and you can see which creatures you have in your army. Now, as far as the creatures, one change that they've made is all of the creatures now have literally a million, like, passive abilities. So, like, this is a basic crossbowman, which we have seen in the previous games. You know, normally it's like, you know, they have a half shooting distance or a full shooting distance. If we click on him now, you'll see he actually has 2 special abilities. Which, let me go ahead and actually go into the castle here for a second. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself a little bit, because I think there is a better place. Actually, I can't show that to you because it's too early. I was going to show what the special abilities on that guy was, so I guess I'll have to just skip that for now. Jumping ahead of myself, can't do that. Okay, back on this screen, there is now a sort of a reputation system, and it can be considered very close to like light side, dark side, or if you've played any of the BioWare games like Mass Effect, where they'll have like a Paragon and Renegade. It's a system that works kind of similar to that. The only difference is in those games it would be all based on like your conversation. In this game, it's all based on your actions. So when you're in the adventure map here, if I were to attack these guys, as I attack them, if it says something like, oh, they're so impressed by my army that they want to either join me or flee or whatever, if I let them join me or flee, then that is considered, you know, tier, which is good guy. If I pursue them, that's considered like bad guy, which is blood. So that's how you earn your rankings. And then from there, as you go one side or the other, you'll actually see this thing here start to fill up, and then you'll be able to get more abilities based on which way you go. You can see here by default I have Bless. Now if I were to go into tiers, I'll pick up Resurrection and I'll pick up Divine Intervention. If I were to go the other way, I'd pick up Holy Blades and Word of Light. So, I think that pretty much covers that screen. If we go on to the Dynasty bonuses, this brings up the special weapons that I was talking about before and the pets. And the Dynasty trait that I had for this guy is Dark Renewal. So again, that all comes to play in your custom character that we looked at before. And then the final thing is the ability trees. Now this is something that they completely changed from the previous games. In the previous games, you would kind of get them at random a little bit, and then as you would go through the game, you'd get your experience, you'd level up, and you'd be able to pick certain things. So what this game has done is it's completely taken out the random aspects altogether. So they've broken it up into 3 main categories, which is Might, Magic, and Heroic abilities. So let's look at the last one first, because it's going to be the easiest. So you have Faction abilities, Heroic, your specialization, and again the specialization was set at the custom character maker. And then again, this has to do with the blood and tier thing. So your Faction ability, again for Haven, is Guardian Angel 1. and you can kind of see what it does there. And as I level up, I will be able to get different ranks of it. Now, this ability is used in combat, and again, I'll explain that once we get into combat. So let's look at the other two. Let's go to Might. So within Might, they have broken it down into 5 categories. We have got Paragon, Realm, Tactics, War Cries, and Warfare. So if you remember in the previous games, you would have abilities like, you pick this and you're able to get more luck, or more defense, or pathfinding, or different things like that. So they've broken all of those into these different categories. So if we look under Paragon, we have got Defender 1. Hero gains 1 might defense. And here we've got Diplomat. Here we have got Destiny's Chosen. And here's Logistics. If we switch over to Realm, we have stuff like, Economist and Architect. So you can pretty much pick anything you want, but it all comes down to how you want to build your hero. So let's go under Magic for a second, just so I can show this to everybody. So they've broken up all the spells. We have got Air, Fire, Earth, Light, and Prime. Now this particular guy, let me go back in, you'll see that she is a level 1 Cleric, which is Magic. So it tends to want you to pick the magic spells, but you don't have to if you don't want to. So as a Cleric, I would probably be doing stuff under Magic, and I would probably be doing stuff under probably Light. And we have items like, Celestial Armor and Mass Armor. We have got Heal and Mass Heal. We've got Retribution Aura. And again, just as you pick these, you'll work your way down the list. Now, something else you might notice here is some of these have sort of that bluish-whitish background, and some of them have a red background. Now, we'll switch over to this one. Again, you see sort of the white ones and the red ones. We'll switch over to Might, and again, sort of white ones and red ones. And again, this all goes into that blood and tear system. So, do you want to be a good guy? Do you want to be a bad guy? It's all up to you. So, I do have one ability to spend at level 1. So, we'll go back under Light here, and let's go ahead and get our armor. So, that will be a spell that I can use in combat. So, I think we're pretty much done with this screen. So, let's close that out. And a little while ago, I jumped ahead, which I probably shouldn't have. So, let's go ahead and go into the town screen. And the town screen, again, is very similar to like Heroes 2 or Heroes 3. You've got your nice visuals going on, and as you build your buildings, you are able to click on them and go into them. So we have got a very standard screen down here in the lower bottom. This is, again, very similar to the previous versions of Heroes. So we actually have this button here, which will allow us to build our buildings. So we can choose, do we want to build buildings, or do we want to build creature stuff, or what do we want to do? So for turn 1 here, we are going to build our next rank of our town hall. So I'm going to click on this arrow, and it tells us what resources it's going to take to build it, which we have enough. So we'll just go ahead and we'll build it. We'll click the green check. And there we go. It sort of updated that. Now, each day, you can only build 1 building per day. And your creatures, you only get new creatures in your town once per week. So again, that's very much similar to Heroes 2 and 3. In Heroes 4, you could actually get heroes every day. So we'll go ahead and we'll end the turn here. Let's go ahead and we'll pick up some of that. We'll collect our campfire, get 402 wood, and we'll get us some blood crystals. So we have a gold mine here, which is guarded by a pack of some sort of lynchy skeletons. I cannot attack that because it says that it's deadly. So we have a Stone of Enlightenment here. Let's go ahead and grab that, which takes us to level 2. So we'll go ahead and we'll actually go back into this. And let's go ahead and pick up, should we pick up Heal or Retribution? Let's go ahead and pick up rank 1 heal. Let's see, it can't go that way. Here's some more way over here. And that's it. So my movement is out for the day. So I need to go ahead and just end my turn. So the red guy goes. And now it's back to me again. So it looks like there's some Minotaurs guarding this building, which I can't quite see what it is yet. So we'll go ahead and we'll go this way and we'll pick that up. Okay, here we've got a good old-fashioned ore pit, and it's guarded by some wolves. So let's engage the wolves and see what the new combat looks like. We will attack the 8 wolves. Alright, so here we have the combat screen, and the wolves are moving up already. So, again, in the combat screen, they've sort of changed the angle a little bit compared to some previous versions. There's no 3D camera spin, but you are able to zoom in and out. And if you look here, they've actually done a rather impressive job at the amount of detail on these guys. Very nice for this type of game. So let's take a look at the options that we have here. So you can see I have 8 crossbowmen, and I have 7 sisters, which are their a type of like a cleric type guy. So down here in the lower left, we have basically the bar who's telling us who is moving when. We also have a little shield and a sort of a double helmet with an arrow. If I did not want my archers to move this turn, I could basically have them defend. So they'll basically just hold their ground, gain a little defense, and they'll completely skip this round. Or if I wanted them to move later in the round, I could have them do a wait. So as we move over to the right side of the screen, you'll see my hero portrait. We have auto combat, which we don't want to do. We have a retreat option, which is actually flee. If you were to flee, you lose half of your army. So it's something to consider. But now we have the spell book, which we've gotten into a little bit before. So here's the 2 spells that I picked up. Now we're going against these timber wolves, so we might want to put on a little bit of armor. You'll see that it costs 8 mana, and I currently have 50 out of 50. So we'll select this, and we'll select it for our sisters. So there we go. It puts that on there. Now, if I didn't want to use a spell, there is a sword option here, which is basically your hero's default attack. So I'll try and perform that here in a minute. So now we have to choose who to fight. So again, we have the crossbowman selected, and we can choose to kill some wolves. It tells you how much damage is going to be done. And you can actually right-click on these guys, and it will tell you all their stats. You can see he's got 25 health and how much defense he has. And it tells you his special abilities. He's living, so he can't be healed or resurrected. And he is a hunger. So increases movement speed by 2. So enough of that. Let's go ahead and shoot this guy. So 15 to 39, and possibly 1 will die. So we got ahead. Now we're gonna actually zoom in here a little bit as the sister is gonna move up, and she has the possibility of killing 2 of them, which is half their stack. So we'll let her move up and do her thing. And she killed 1. So now the wolves get to go. He's going right after the crossbowman. 11 damage to him. He's going to retaliate, bring out his knife, and take him down a little bit. So again, should we use a spell or should we use the hero ability? I think we'll go ahead and we'll use the hero ability. So if I hover over, it'll kill all 3 of the wolves that are on my crossbowman, which is a good thing, because if you have a guy right next to a ranged unit, then the ranged unit is not nearly as effective. So let's get rid of him. And there he goes. Now the crossbowman is free to fire another bolt at the wolf. Now, one other thing I want to point out, when we were back under the character menu, I said that there was a special ability you can use in combat, if I can talk correctly. And that is this thing right here. There's my Guardian Angel 1. As the combat goes along, this yellow bar will start working its way around the circle. Once it gets to full, I can then use that ability. So as you can see, we're a long ways off, so there's no chance of us using it in this fight. So let's go ahead and take a shot at the wolves. And let's finish them off with our sister. And there you go. So that was pretty easy, but again, it is fairly early on. Don't want to put you with too hard of stuff. Now you'll see the little flag here. So we'll go ahead and we'll hit it. It now changes blue, so I now own the ore pit, which will provide 2 ore per day. So I am now out of movement. So we'll go ahead and we'll go back into the castle and build our next building for the day. Which I think... Should we do another town hall upgrade? Or get some creatures going? I think we should get some sentinels out there. That would be the wise thing to do. Alright, so you can see their building popped up now. Their special ability, they have a shield guard. They have a shielded, reduces range damage. And they are living. They're not dead. So there you go. Now the next thing is now that we do have creatures, you can click on this sack of money here, and eventually it'll fill up with all the creatures, and this is the screen that allows you to then buy creatures. Alright, so let's go ahead and end our turn on this one. Red guy goes, and now it's our turn again. So I'll run back to town here real quick and pick up them guys I just bought. Actually, before I do that, we can build another building. So again, should I buy another creature or upgrade my town? Or the new option, and again, I believe this is new for this game. I don't think this was in Heroes 5. Each creature actually has 2 ranks. So you'll see I have the barracks, but I can actually upgrade to level 2 barracks, which will make even more powerful units out of this one. So I think I won't do that. I could actually get a griffin or one of my level 2 guys. I think I will in fact get my griffins. Now that's going to burn a lot of resources doing that though, but having something like that early on might actually be a good idea. So let's see if we can buy all the griffins. We can, and we'll buy all of those guys. We'll go ahead and we'll drag them down into our army here, and so now we've got lots more units. Now the question is where did they put... Ah, here it is. I was going to say, where did they put the lumber mill? They put it way down here. So let's get the lumber mill and end our turn. Now this is actually a chest. Or actually, no, I was mistaken. That's not a chest. Okay, so we have got 4 Inferno guys to defeat this time. We have 2 stacks of 2. And I hate to tell you here, pal, but you're severely outmatched. Now, here's a good example. Some creatures in the game, if not all creatures in the game, have special abilities. Now, a lot of them don't get their special abilities until rank 2. But the Griffin happens to have his at level 1 here. So his special ability is diving attack. So I can actually click on this and then click on one of his guys, and you'll see the Griffin basically leave the battlefield, and then at the end of the turn he'll attack and return to his spot, so he does not take any damage. So let's check this out. Here he takes off and he's gone. So he'll be back here in just a minute. So let's go ahead and let's use our hero. Actually, no, let's use a spell this time. Let's use our armor again on our sentinels. Alright, let's take a little bit of damage to this guy. Send up the sister. And he's dead. And let's go ahead and start marching the Sentinel towards this other guy. He doesn't have quite enough movement to make it all the way. And here comes the Griffin. Oh, actually, we got some luck there, so I can actually go again. So let's go way... Actually, let's attack him from this angle. Yeah, poking good. And here comes the Griffin. Boom. In and out. And he flies back to his original spot. Good job. Now, where's he going? Oh. Now, when this animation comes about, that means that there was a critical attack that happened. So they created fancy little animations for the crits, which is nice. Okay, and we'll use the Griffin to finish this guy off. There you go. Smack it good. And he's dead. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. So we'll go ahead and we'll grab some resources here. And we capture the sawmill. Now, I just want to stop here for a second and just take a look at the adventure map here. They did a really good job at the level of detail. You can actually see the trees and stuff. They're actually moving in the wind a little bit, and just they did a really good job. The water in this game, even though we can only see a little bit of it, the water in this game is really good. Really, really good. But yeah, I'm really impressed at the amount of detail that they put into the adventure map on this one. It's pretty good. All the buildings and the creatures and the little plants are moving, but a very, very nice job. So let me briefly talk about some of the issues that this game's actually having right now. There are multiplayer connection issues with Uplay. And I think all of these services, whether it be Origins with EA or Uplay or a couple of the other ones, a lot of them get a lot of bad rap, and sometimes it's definitely deserving. But yeah, my friends and I have been trying to play this, and we have a heck of a time getting connected sometimes. And I don't know what the deal is. We've been kind of playing around a little bit, trying to figure out the quirks of the system, and it's a problem. I mean, eventually, once we do get connected, we can play forever. But it's just that initial connection, trying to get hooked up, is just very, very difficult. There's also some rather game-breaking bugs with the NVIDIA cards. I've actually had an issue. I'm actually kind of surprised that the issue hasn't popped up in my little demo here. But there's an issue where when you enter into combat, it just loads to a black screen and there's nothing you can do about it. I've actually found a file in your My Documents under the Heroes that if you delete that before you launch the game, it seems to solve the issue, but the problem is it's like your user config file, so you cannot change any settings. You can't put it on high graphics or anything. But like I said, for this demo, I actually got lucky, and it's letting me run everything on high for a change. So it seems like they're not real too concerned about fixing it. I mean, we can always hope that NVIDIA fixes it with, a driver update or something. But, and again, some of my other friends run NVIDIA cards, and they're not having any problems. So I don't know if just it doesn't like my advanced stuff or what the problem is. I don't know. A couple other minor things that I'm not really thrilled about in this game. And again, if you've played the other previous Hero games, you'll kind of know what I'm talking about. If we go into the build screen here, there's two buildings here. We have a basic town portal and an advanced town portal. So in the old games, it was a straight up spell that you basically had to work to get, and not everybody would get it. So it was, fairly well balanced. So in this game, everybody gets town portal. So you're able to warp, once you get everything unlocked, you're able to warp around the map just at crazy speeds. Going from town to town, you can be out in the wilderness and port back to town. and it just makes it very, very difficult to track guys down, to to hunt them down, to kill them. It makes the game very difficult. And then sort of part 2 on that, in the previous games, if you actually went after an enemy hero and you killed them, again, depending on which previous version we're talking about, I think in most versions there would be a jail. So you'd defeat them and they would go to jail, and they'd be basically in jail forever unless the enemy hero, another enemy hero, was able to basically break into your town, defeat your town, and free them from jail. Or I think maybe in a couple of the other versions you would actually permanently kill them. So in this game, there is no jail, there is no killing enemy heroes. So if you defeat them, they are quote-unquote dead, but all you have to do is go to the tavern and resurrect them. So he can be dead one turn and back up to near full strength the next turn, and it's a little unfair. I mean, the only downside to a death that I have seen is you do lose your artifacts, but you're still, a level whatever, super guy, and you can go to your town and you get all new troops, and it's like nothing ever happened to you. So, not a big fan of that. I am not, because it's very difficult to make progress in this game when they're doing that. There's just no good way of killing guys. But other than those couple of complaints, I think this game is fantastic. Like I said, the level of detail is great. The combat is as good as ever. And in the short time that I've had this, I've already sunk like 15 to 20 hours in it. So it's a lot of fun playing this version. So I definitely recommend it. If you can work past the couple of bugs and the couple of issues, it's definitely worth picking up. So with that being said, that will go ahead and end my first look for Heroes of Might and Magic 6, The Shades of Darkness. So everybody keep playing and have fun.